Hey guys, it's Kate, and in this speed build I'm building a farm on a 64x64 lot, and it's been a while since I built something this big. When I started my channel I made quite a few builds on 64x64 lots, but then I also felt like making some smaller builds and regular family homes and all that stuff because I didn't just want to build villages. But this time I felt like building a farm on a 64x64 lot, and this build includes multiple buildings on one lot. I love to do this, it's so much fun, and it was quite challenging but also a lot of fun because I want to make it very manageable. So I built just one big house in the back, which is the house your Sims are going to live in if you would like to play with this house. But there are also some other buildings, a windmill and 2 silos which are empty. They're just decoration basically, and also a barn. And it looks big, and it is big, but it's very manageable. Because the problem with builds like this is usually that there are multiple buildings and your Sims just have to go back and forth between all the buildings. But I made sure that it's not that bad in this case, because you have the house, just a normal house, and then there's a barn, and in the barn they're just planting pots, and it doesn't really make a difference if these are in a building or just on the outside. It's just the farming part of the farm, I guess you could say. And then there's the windmill, which is technically just a little home gym. And yeah, that's actually it. The silos are just decoration, as I said, so it looks massive, and it is massive, but it's very manageable, and I think it's a lot of fun to play with a build like this. Just the whole atmosphere, it really does look like a farm, and I love this. I know that a lot of people really want to have a farming pack, something like this, so they can have some livestock, and personally I think this would be so awesome. But I mean, we can still have some fun with a farm like this, a fake farm you could say. And if you and your Sim are into gardening, then this is the perfect lot, I would say. And the most difficult part about this was the windmill, for sure. It took me a few hours to figure out how to build the windmill, not because of the actual shape and all that was simple, but I had to figure out how I could build the windmill sets, and these almost drove me crazy because I had this vision in my head of a windmill and I thought it would look so cool, but then I was going through all the objects and the debug objects and just thought, okay, what could I actually use for the windmill sails, because without them it's not a proper windmill, of course. And then I used different objects, and then I had the idea to just use windows, because these windows that are part of seasons kind of look like a windmill sail if you arrange them the way I did. So I was pretty happy with that. But when you elevate something in The Sims 4, you always have to make sure that a foundation is underneath, so when you're placing the lot, the objects that you elevated won't crash down, and they really just fall down to the ground, to the floor, and then you can't upload the lot to the gallery. I mean, if you're just building for yourself and if you don't plan to place the building ever, then it doesn't really matter. But I'm putting this build and my other builds on the gallery, so of course I have to make sure that this doesn't happen. And then I used a foundation at the bottom at first, and it still didn't work, and I was like, oh my god, it was driving me crazy. But then finally it clicked, and I realized that I wasn't placing the windows on the ground floor or above the ground floor, but above the first floor. So I needed a foundation or a balcony at the first floor, so I added a balcony, and then it finally worked just fine. I think it turned out pretty cool. So if you're planning to build something like this, you have to add a balcony, or yeah, you just have to add a foundation underneath so this doesn't happen. Like I said, if you're not planning to place the lot, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, even if you're just building for yourself, sometimes if you are moving over to a new save file or something, sometimes you just save something to your own library and you want to use a lot again. So I think it always kind of makes sense to build it properly in the first place. I learned my lesson the hard way, because when I was uploading the house for the very first speed build that I ever made, I forgot to add a foundation underneath because I had no idea about this, and I also forgot to place it, so some of the stones came crashing down, and then I re-uploaded a new version. Yeah, I mean, when you're starting out, you learn a lot, and yeah, so I was making extra sure here that this won't happen again. And to kind of connect all the buildings, I decided to build a path in the middle that has the shape of a cross, I guess you could say. And I used a rounded foundation to create the round shape right at the center. And then I just added the floor that looks like grass. I used it all over the lot, and then I removed some stripes so it looks more like some kind of field. I just used small little details to make it look more like a farm. I mean, there aren't really any farm objects by default, so I just tried to make it look like a farm as best as I could. And yeah, the path is connecting the buildings, and it's also the path that leads from the front to the house, and I think this again makes it quite manageable. And the main entrance is at the front, so when you are entering the lot and you are walking in a straight line, you would reach the house and the main entrance. But I also used another entrance at the side. If you're looking on the right side next to the barn, there is the other entrance, and it leads into a office area and then right into the hallway, and this way your Sims can also enter the house at the right side. And where the silos are located, I decided to add a few swing sets and monkey bars just so there is a proper garden area, because in the front there are just a lot of pumpkins. And I also used some bushes and I arranged them in a way so it looks nice and neat and like a farm. But I also added a proper garden in the back, including a pool, because I didn't just want to add a lot of stuff at the front for the whole farm theme. I also wanted this lot to have a proper garden so your Sims can have a nice barbecue or something. But I also added a table and some chairs at the front, right in front of the barn. I mean, if you're not into gardening, I think that the barn would be a perfect place to have a party, so you could just remove the planting pots and, I don't know, just add some party stuff, maybe a bar and all that kind of stuff. But at first I thought about doing that, but I mean, it's a farm after all, so there had to be something for gardening in my opinion, so I didn't do that. But I think that this would be also a very nice idea. I also added some avocado trees at the front that your Sims can use and harvest some avocados. I was going through the whole debug section and I was looking for all the other gardening bushes, the little ones, and I originally wanted to use these instead of the round bushes that are just decoration, but I couldn't find anything, so I just used the avocado trees, and there were also other trees, but I decided to go with this one. And there was a aloe vera plant, but I didn't like the way it looks. It just looks like something that would grow in a more tropical kind of warm area, and I didn't like the way it looked with the whole farming theme. And this area, I built this in Windenburg, by the way, so I decided to just do it this way. And the pumpkins, in case you're wondering, are part of the spooky pack. And I used the bb.show hidden objects sheets so I could enter the debug section, and there you can find the pumpkins that are completely uncarved and you can just size them up a little. I just wanted to vary the size a little so it looks more realistic and random, just like the way pumpkins would grow in different sizes and all that kind of stuff. And I arranged them in a kind of curved pattern, like a waved pattern, because I think that it looks quite nice. And here I am starting to work on the interior, and I decided to use a lot of warm colors, and I wanted the interior to look very just homey and also rustic, because I mean, this is a farm. I thought that a very modern interior would not go well with a farm at all. I didn't want to have one look on the exterior and then a completely different look on the inside. I mean, of course, in real life, this absolutely makes sense. You could live on a farm or buy a old house or something and then just go for a modern interior. It does not have to be the same, but in this case, I wanted it to be a farm on the outside and on the inside, so it's one cohesive look. So I tried to make it look rustic and homey, and yeah. And for the kitchen, I used the counters that are part of Parenthood. I just love this kitchen. I use these counters multiple times for some of my builds, and in this case I just went for this color. I think it's so beautiful, and I'm going to switch up the floor and the walls a few times because I don't know, I just wasn't feeling this color combination, so I switched things around a little. I love to do that just until I'm happy. And it's a big open kitchen with a counter. I just love to use these island counters so your Sims can sit at the island counter and have some breakfast. I don't know, I sometimes love to add something that I like to call a breakfast corner or something. So a table, a dining area that you would use daily and when you're having breakfast, and then a proper dining area, a separate dining room just for having dinner or when guests are over, something like that. But I think that island counters are technically exactly that, a little breakfast area, something where you just sit and have a little snack and a chat, I don't know, something like that. And I think it's so cool. And when your Sims are cooking, the other Sims can just hang around and they can have a chat, and this is why I decided to build it this way. The house is quite big. There are 4 bedrooms, 1 master bedroom and 3 kids rooms, and for the kids rooms I decided to have 1 pink one, 1 blue one and 1 yellow one, just to have a selection going on, because these are probably the most typical colors for kids rooms, and they are next to each other, and the master bedroom is separate, and I think it turned out quite nice. There are also huge hallways. It's just a very big house. It's a mansion. I mean, it's a big farmhouse, but technically it's a mansion and not just a small family home or something. And I think it's cool to have enough space. You could even like switch things around or put more beds into the kids' rooms. There's so much space in this house, and yeah, I think it turned out quite nice. I also added 2 bathrooms, and there's also an office, and as I said in the beginning, there's a little home gym in the Windmill. So I mean, what more could a Sim ask for? I mean, when you have made it as a Sim, this is probably a house that you would like, especially if you're into gardening and if you enjoy the farm life out in the country. Also, a quick info, if you haven't watched my last 2 videos, you may not know, but I decided to have a little giveaway on this channel to say thank you for 1k subs, and you just have to go to my flower cottage video. I'm going to link it down in the description, and you just have to comment giveaway there, and the last day that you can enter is October 28. So if it's still October 28, which will be the day that I am releasing this video here, you can still enter, and I'm going to announce the winner on October 30, and you can win a stuff pack of your choice. So yeah, just check out that video if you haven't yet and comment to enter, and good luck everyone. And oh my god, the day I was recording the speed build was such a weird day somehow. It was, I don't know, one of these days where anything that could go wrong somehow goes wrong, and I was so afraid that something would go wrong with the recording when I was recording the speed build, like losing the footage or something. I don't know, it was just weird. Like, the day began with me spilling water all over the counter when I was making coffee in the morning, and later in the day I went to buy some groceries, and I entered the checkout, put everything on the conveyor belt, and the second the cashier starts ringing up my stuff, I realized that I had forgotten my AC card at home, and I didn't have any cash with me because I planned to pay with the card. And I don't know, it was one of those moments where I just randomly realized something like this and you are just shocked. So I told the cashier, and she was so sweet, rang up my stuff, and I could just leave it there, quickly went home, grabbed the card, and then I went back to pay. And I don't know, tons of other things happened this day, like, I don't know, 10 random things. If I would be superstitious, I would probably think that I was cursed or something, but I don't know, it was just me being stupid and having a weird day. And here I'm working on the hallway. I am using the same rock that I used for the hallway at the bottom. I just like to have rooms that have the same purpose, to look similar sometimes. Bathrooms, for example, and hallways, because this way it doesn't look too busy and it's not all over the place. I don't know. I just like to do that. So I'm using the same lamps sometimes, or the same curtains. This is what I'm doing here. I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit hard to furnish hallways because, especially when they're a little bigger, they don't really have a purpose other than being a hallway, of course. So I'm just adding a fireplace and some sofas, stuff to sit, and just some decoration. So this is it, guys. This speed build is coming to an end. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And as I said, go and check out the giveaway in case you want to enter. Today is your last chance, October 28, and I'm going to announce the winner on October 30, and you can win a stuff pack of your choice. And as always, if you have any form of constructive criticism, or if you just want to comment anything, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. And I included screenshots and floor plans at the end of the video, so you get an overview, and you can find all the information in the description box in case you want to download this lot in the gallery. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!